We were talking about it this morning. The IoT is a means. It's not an end in itself. You all know that. The device itself doesn't change a lot. What we want to do with the IoT is to change and tackle business challenges with solutions. To get a solution, you need a device, because the device will send data, and the data is key, and you need platforms and partners to work with this data. And that's what we're going to talk about right now in a new panel around cloud and data, opportunity and challenges, with speakers from ThinkWorks and SAP, moderated by one of our experts around senior standardization, protocols, and so on. Please help me welcome Juan Carlos Zuniga and the panel.
Hi everyone, my name is Juan Carlos Zuniga. I'm with the standardization team, and I'm glad to have here with me Smita and Luke. We have a big challenge because it's been long for you guys. So we were going to ask you just to please stand up for a second, if you don't mind. We're trying to push the air conditioning so that there's air flowing, but if you don't mind raising a bit your hands, stretching your shoulders, that's going to be very useful for every one of us here. Thank you. Feels good. So thank you very much for coming. I'm very pleased to be chairing this panel, not only because cloud and data are topics very dear to me in the standardization team, working with Christophs, but also because I have a couple of excellent speakers here with me. And I'm very, very glad to introduce them to you. So let me start, ladies first. I have with me Smita Royala from SAP. So Smita has, amongst other, several years of experience in the complete software stack, all the way from the hardware to the business analytics applications. She's now a solutions manager for SAP Leonardo, IoT technology, with the global head of go-to-market, IoT and strategy. And she actively drives business development for IoT, evangelizes IoT and associated business benefits. And she's in the renowned Leadership Excellence Acceleration Program of SAP. So she's used to be pushed out of her comfort zone, I think. So we'll keep that in mind during the Q&A.
Thank you, Juan.
Thanks. I also have here with me Luc Terrat. So Luc, also many years of experience in the Internet of Things industry, where he has driven international sales and business development activities at major manufacturers and service providers. He's now with PTC, the provider of the IoT and AR ThinkWorks platform. So with PTC, Luke is the global head IoT partner strategy for telco, where he's responsible for defining and executing the company's IoT strategy with telecom operators globally. And amongst other things, Luke has lived in many countries. He speaks several languages. So if you feel like asking questions later on in Lithuanian or Spanish, please feel free to reach out to Luke.
All right, thank you. Big challenge, but yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. So, as Cedric said, cloud and data. We're moving now from the devices side to the internet side, so basically the I in the IoT. And as we all know, the value of our solutions relies on the data and the services that we're going to provide. And of course, there are multiple challenges and opportunities, as the title of our panel suggests. But I want to start from the basics, because we often confuse terms. And we talk about cloud computing, we talk about cloud, we talk about platforms, we talk about dashboards. So let me please start with Luke now. Could you please brief us in the most basic manner about these terms? What exactly do we mean when we talk about all these things?
Yes, so that's a good entry point. I mean, we hear the word IoT platform all the time. It's maybe the most overused word in the IoT space. Platforms mean everything and anything. At PTC, at ThinkWorks, we're proud to have the ThinkWorks platform, and the way we define it, to be very simple, it's a tool. It's really a tool that is made for developers of applications and people who want to run applications themselves to make it easier for them to build and deploy those IoT applications. Instead of doing that, let's say, without any tools, let's say just coding software against APIs, they can make use of this tool, ThingWorx, in order to build those apps extremely rapidly, easily as well, without coding, actually, and also all this in a scalable and secure fashion. So it's very, very important for the Sigfox ecosystem indeed, because we're talking about billions of devices to connect. If you don't have a proper technology to build applications that can scale to that level, you're going to be in trouble, and we've seen that.
Thank you very much, Luc. Sumita, in your views, what are the main differences, advantages and disadvantages between these different approaches when we talk about platforms developed, let's say, on premises or on the cloud?
So the big difference for customers is like the total cost of ownership. So it drastically reduces. If you see SAP in the past, every installation or every project implementation took some months, and it all had to do with the costs. Right, and currently with the cloud version, so you drastically reduce that, because customers do not have to bother about operations or the infrastructure or installations, and keeping the experts in their IT to maintain the systems and so on. So this is a how do I say, this is a great opportunity for customers to focus on their specific business and leave the rest, what we are good at, to and let us do that we are the software providers and we can do that better, so we'll do that, and while we are doing that, they can focus on their particular business, so this is the opportunity they get through cloud.
Okay, thank you, thanks a lot. Now, if we talk about IoT, I think, well, IoT of course means also a whole bunch of different things, but let's try to focus on, let's say, the 5G way of defining IoT, and we know there's at least two major markets. One is the ultra-low latency, augmented reality, virtual reality. That is not necessarily what we care about here. We here are more interested on the capture and the sensor-based networks, right? When we talk about massive IoT, when we talk about massive and billions of devices. So if we focus on that, Luc, let me ask you, what do you think would be the challenge that we have now to approach this massive IoT connectivity and services?
Yeah, so let's say Sigfox as a networking technology enabled to connect things that were previously unconnected. So we have access, let's say, enterprises or developers of services have access to massive amount of data. But that data is just useless if you don't make use of it in a proper way, basically making sense of that data, putting it into context, and focusing on delivering value to the end user. So it's great to have data and to have more data, and actually you will be capable with that data to do more, but you actually need to do something. It's not just about getting that data from those sensors, it's making sense of that data. If we make the analogy with crude oil, its data is indeed crude oil, but you need to refine it and in order to provide value to the end user that you are serving. And that's the whole purpose of an IoT platforms with analytics as part of it, is indeed to refine that data to provide real value, let's say like oil, byproducts that are actually useful to the end users.
Okay. And Sumita, in your views, what would be the challenge to reach that massive IoT connectivity?
So the two challenges that I would like to mention here for this audience is like, the first one is a completely end-to-end solution, to get it up and running. That means from the things to the business outcomes. So SAP has a 45-year background in business software, and we want to bring business value to our customers. We do not want them to adopt IoT for the sake of adopting new technology. We want to, partner with our strategic partners who help us provide end-to-end solution, right from the things to the business outcomes. So Luke put it in a good way, saying that you have to put end user in the scene and do what he wants, what he needs. Yeah, not just getting the data, but analyze it, put it in a useful way for him. Yeah. So what SAP does is it goes a step further and says, look at the business impact that this data or these insights that you win through data have. Yeah? So put these insights into business processes and take better decisions. Yeah? Or improve your customer experience or provide new services using this data. Yeah? So that is what how we see the things in terms of IoT.
I could mention here, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, we talk about that data coming from Sigfox devices, but to put it into context, it means actually putting it into context with data coming from ERP systems, from SAP, for instance, CRM systems. Actually, a lot of the data that needs to be mashed up together in order to create business value to those end users will not come from Sigfox devices or from remote devices wherever they are. It will be, let's say, a combination of these data from different sources, different protocols, different networks, and also different sources which are back-end systems. So that's how value will be created for end users, and that's what the end users are ready to pay for.
And now that you mentioned that the data will come from multiple sources, multiple protocols, what are your views regarding the standardization of those interfaces? We know that indeed today there is no standard, so most of the deployments and the solutions have to be customized for a specific use case. Still, even though that may be perfect for that use case, that's not scalable, because if we want to reach this massive interconnectivity, we want to connect multiple customers at the end of the day as fast as possible. So in your views, what is needed if we wanted to standardize, for instance, these connections?
Can you repeat just the last bit of the question?
So what is it that we would need to standardize in order to open up or to make it easier to interconnect to different sources of information?
Yes, I mean, you said there is no standard in IoT. I would say that actually there are hundreds of standards in IoT. So it's the environment you need to play with. And there will be lots and lots of sources of data that you need to deal with. And whether it's about the type of networking technology, whether it's the type of protocols, whether it's the format of that data, etc., how you can create applications, how you will need to connect to back-end systems, it's very different. So, I mean, the value of using a tool to create those applications is actually to simplify that complexity in order for the developer of those applications to focus on what's important, let's say, where they can add value, which is in really, let's say, creating the business applications. All what I call the plumbing that is at the bottom, how data gets into the cloud, which format, etc., that shouldn't matter to the developer of applications, because actually it will change. At the moment, I mean, we used to have IoT or M2M in the past that was cellular. Now it's moving even faster with Sigfox, with that type of technology. What's coming ahead in the near future, I don't know. But you need to be prepared for that, and you need to have a kind of abstraction layer that allows you to not just focus about that plumbing, but be capable of focusing on where you will add value by creating IoT applications and services.
Do you have any views on that?
So I can only add to what Luke said. So standards are, there are several standards, as he mentioned, that's true. But there are also some standards missing, like, if you want to share data between two businesses, how do you do? So, and the regulations around that, and the data privacy regulations around that. So there are a lot of bits and pieces which are very much essential, which are not yet, clarified. So, for example, European Union is trying to clarify some things, and standardize some things. That's good. And there are like Industrial Internet Consortium, where SAP is a big part of it. And there we are also trying to standardize through pushing some good reference architectures and so on. And we are also very active in Industry 4.0 initiative, which is mainly for manufacturing sector. And there we are also trying to foster some, push some standards, and also let our customers adapt those standards. So standards are really important. There are many. And for some areas, they are like, we still have to work on that. And we are not fast enough. That's the reason why, if we start an IoT solution on one platform, get the data inside it, today it is not possible just to migrate it to another vendor so easily. Yeah, we have to do some sort of stuff before migrating it. So, or, pushing data from different sources. There are always steps like you have to prepare the data and then load into your system and so on. So these steps will be very, very shorter if we have some sort of standards defined there as well. How to share data between businesses and so on.
Yeah, that's a good point. Indeed, we see a plethora of standards right now out there, and everyone is trying to get to market as soon as possible. And even though we see some generic foundation blocks like the IETF, for instance, working on the co-op compression SHIC to work over LP1, we still need to work on the higher layers, definitely, to go into the semantics. Now, one interesting point that you touched was on the data privacy and security. And in this IoT world, we generate a lot of information, but we also have heard bad publicity from cybersecurity attacks and data privacy issues. So do you think that's also one of the big challenges that is stopping the market right now related to security of the data?
Yeah, security, data privacy, they are challenges, but there are also at the same time opportunities for some companies, because how do I say, if we see there are different levels of security that is needed for different scenarios, right? If we talk about smart cities, the devices are installed in a very vulnerable scenario, yeah, and depending on the application, the security has to be accordingly implemented. And if you are talking about some manufacturing situation, there it's a physically secured area, but you have some other sorts of security aspects that you have to consider. Yeah, so, and we have a lot of security experts. The thing that we are currently doing is we are, to be honest, IoT is in early adoption stage. We have the technology, but it is still in early adoption stage. So every vendor is learning with every project or with every experience they get through customer projects, and they are incorporating this experience again into their products or into their platform. So this is a good thing, and we just need some time because we have the expertise. We have the expertise for incorporating security. We just need to get more experience in this heterogeneous IoT application world, to make IoT solutions more secure and so on. So this is definitely an opportunity and at the same time a little challenge.
Thanks. And when you talk about an evolving market and technology, that reminds me, Luke, when we were having the discussion, you had an interesting point when you said that we never get it right the first time. We never get it right the first time. It's an evolving. So would you mind sharing with the audience your thoughts?
I mean, in IoT, I said that also previously. Everything changes. We are in a world in a perpetual evolution. So whatever specs you can write about an application or a solution, that you can right now, it's going to be irrelevant in 3 months or in 6 months. So whatever applications or solutions you're trying to bring to market, it's never going to be what you're going to eventually sell. And actually, there is no such thing as a finished IoT project. It will be in perpetual evolution. The requirements of the customer are going to change, are going to evolve. They will want more features, more capabilities, integrate more sources of data over time to enrich let's say, to add more value, basically. But also the technology will change. You start with one technology, you evolve over time because you have something that is more efficient, that is cheaper, that is, well, you need to face, because there are some devices that are already deployed that are from a different format, etc. So you don't worry about getting started. You need to get started. You need to try to bring to market, or at least test with your customer, what we call now a kind of MVP, to see how that works, get feedback and evolve that iteratively. And that's also the reason why using a tool to develop such IoT applications and solutions is very important, because if you start coding against that specs that you have written at the beginning, well, you will need to evolve and adapt it over time. You will end up with a spaghetti of code that is impossible to manage eventually down the line. With a proper tool that ensure actually also the security, making sure that what you build is secure end to end, it's really, for me, it's really paramount to go with that kind of technology in order to be very flexible and still remain secure and scalable.
Excellent. Do you have any views about scalability and flexibility?
So if you see SAP Cloud Platform, which is the backbone for IoT applications, it offers different set of APIs, how you put that. So it has a strictly microservice-based architecture, so it's highly scalable. Yeah, and it also supports our message like think big, start small, scale fast, and iterate. Yeah, this is our message for everyone who are interested in improving their business through digitization. So you have to always keep the big picture in mind, but start small. Yeah, see the success of it or improve it, and then scale it. You can scale it with the platforms that are there in the market. For example, with SAP Cloud Platform, you can scale it. Yeah, once you scale it, then you can iterate it to another business process or in another area of your business. Never start a big bang project, because it's not going to be a success, because everybody is in the process of implementing it, seeing how it goes, and then iterating it, improving it. Yeah, so you always have to have a big picture in mind.
Okay. And when you talk about that, I think that it's also important to understand what are the different pieces and the different players, right, that you have to partner or work with. So how do you see the collaboration between your company and Sigfox in this case? What is the benefit of working with Sigfox?
So I shared this one several times with you guys, so I'll tell it again. So our customers are never asking, give me some IoT product or give me some IoT application we want to use. So they are always coming with some real business problem, yeah, or real business opportunity. So it is for example, SAP's responsibility to bring them more value, bring them more business value from things to business outcomes. Yeah, as you know, SAP is a specialist in business software. Yeah, but if you take IoT, it starts from the things to the business software. So it's a long way, and we have covered most of the way, and we still need bits and pieces where our partners are specialists in that, like Sigfox for connectivity, and certain device makers like popular device makers like Intel, Samsung, and so on. So we definitely need partners to fill the gaps and help us provide an IoT solution or several IoT solutions, right from things to business outcomes. And as much as essential are also system integrators, because you see a lot of players playing a part or a role from an in an end-to-end solution. So it is also essential to have good system integrators who are equipped with this knowledge to integrate systems seamlessly, so that it can work well.
Okay, thanks. Luke, any views on the opportunity of collaboration?
Yeah, well, I think it's, we share the same ideal. I mean, we heard that this morning, you're trying to make things simpler. That's exactly what we do as well. We try to make the life of developers of applications and solutions simpler by using this technology to bring their ideas into life. So you do that on the network side by providing a simple way to connect devices. We do that on the application side. We allow companies, whether they are end users or companies who want to bring new value-added services to the market, to make it easy. We allow them to make it easy to bring those services to market. Because, let's say, with such platform technology, they need just to focus on where their value is and not just care about the plumbing. So the collaboration for us, for instance, is to, whenever an application developer wants to use Sigfox data inside their applications, getting data from Sigfox-enabled devices, it's very easy for them to retrieve that data or send comment to the Sigfox network through ThingWorx. And that works quite well because, yeah, we share the same vision.
Excellent. So I guess with this, we are close to the end of the panel. So thank you very much to both of you for having come to this event.
Thank you too.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. So please, a applause.